We're whalers on the moon. We carry a harpoon, but there ain't no whales, so we tell tall tales and sing our whaling tune.
Good day. It's me, and I'm currently being eaten by wolves. Dark and Darker is out now, and hopefully won't be disappearing for months at a time anymore.
But if you close your eyes...
So, I've decided the time is right to tell you, yes you, my unsolicited and unasked for opinion on the game. So strap in, grab your favourite bevy, and have yourself a grand old time. Dark and Darker is developed by Iron Mace Studios, and distances themselves from other extraction shooter developers by having its game not be an extraction shooter. It's a bludgeoning extractor. Bludgeoning shooter? Stab extractor. Clubbing shooter. I don't know. So, pick your class. Pick your weapon. Pick a map, not Frost Mountain, and try not to die alone in the dark. When starting Dark and Darker, you'll need to pick a class. There are 9 to choose from, but because I have a real job, I was only able to play 4. Fighter, Barbarian, Mage, and Rogue. So, I got a little bit of every playstyle. Some fight, some sneak, and some magic. Fighter is your best all-rounder. They can use most weapons and get some of the best armor. If you're a solo player, you'll like Fighter, because it gives you the most options in any given situation, and it's the easiest to learn. You'll do well early on with a sword and shield, and a longsword is meta right now.
What the fuck was that?
It's also very cringe. So, great class to start with. Solid 8 out of 10.
Boom! Axe to the neck. Boom! Axe to the jugular.
Barbarian is the fighter, without the armor or any of the self-preservation. You get hit hard, and you hit harder. A perfect glass cannon. Not too glass, and a little more cannon. It's fun to play, but it lacks the versatility of the fighter, or the damage of, say, the warlock at range. But, up close, or in an enclosed environment, you're a force to be reckoned with. Anything with a ranged weapon will make you poop yourself though, especially rangers and fighters with the speed boost. If you can catch it, you can probably kill it, but you need to catch it first. 7 out of 10. Rogue is your sneaky stabby git. You can cut your weapon and poop to debuff the enemy, and you'll go invisible for a short period of time. Not that I ever got to use it, because I never found anyone when playing Rogue who didn't already know I was there. This makes the cloak feel a little bit too short and the cooldown a little too long. That, coupled with the fact that any movement will cancel it, does make it feel a little gimmicky compared to other abilities. I'm sure getting caught off guard with it will make you feel like you're playing Five Nights at Freddy's, but it's very situational and probably better for avoiding fights in solo rather than actually getting ambushes. But if you're caught in the open and unprepared by it, you're in for a bad time. Similarly though, if you're playing Rogue and you're caught in the open or unprepared, you're also in for a bad time. 6 out of 10. It's alright.
Shadow Wizard Money Gang. We love casting spells.
The wizard has a variety of spells at their disposal, from a debuff like Slow to the more combat-focused ones like Fireball. You can output some serious damage as wizard, but you can't take a lot yourself. Similarly, if anyone gets close to you, that book's not going to help all that much. This can be remedied with the crystal sword or a good staff, but again, if it's a player, especially if they're a fighter, it won't realistically be enough. Also, having to meditate every 5 minutes to get your spells back can be annoying. But if you position yourself well, and again, don't get caught off guard, you're still a force to be reckoned with. 6 out of 10, probably better in parties. Buff the combat spells though. I should be able to kill a goblin with less than 5 fireballs.
Oh my god. Why did that take so many?
Now, with all the characters I played, they all seem to have one thing in common. They aren't as good as the fighter. The fighter just feels better. They use a more variety of weapons, they're more tanky, they're more versatile, and they even get a speed boost, so they're even faster. That's their base ability as well. For solo play, I feel like I'm handicapping myself by not playing the fighter when running solo, because the versatility just seems to outweigh the abilities of the other classes, but I don't know. Maybe as I level up the other classes, this could change. And I'm still fairly low level as all of them, so it could just be early on bias. I love the Goblin Caves!
Oh, I'm just a small little goblin. No, please don't swing your sword. I would die to just one attack. I only have 3 hit points. Please, I'm a little goblin. I would not drop good items. Oh, your sword is so strong. I'm level 1 goblin. I do not know why I carved this dungeon.
Goblin Caves are my favourite map. The enemies are shrimple and easy to beat with any class early on. The goblins can poison you with their poop daggers, but it's not as bad as it was when Goblin Caves first got added. It's not just goblins as well. There's a nice enemy variety, and the map is shrimple enough to find your way around. The minimap can be a little unclear at times, but I never had it unreasonable to a point I couldn't figure it out eventually, and it goes for all maps anyway. The enemies aren't too strong, and you can more or less have a good run in the Goblin Caves, no matter what you've got, or what class you are. At least in the PvE side anyway. If people turn up, it's a different ballgame, but that's, again, any map. A lot like Goblin Caves in a lot of ways, Forgotten Castle is also great for beginners, as the most common enemies are skeletons. Who are prevalent in the Goblin dungeon as well. They're generally easy to dodge, kite and block, it's simple enough to navigate, and you can farm XP in the cage room really, really easily, just as long as someone else doesn't get the same idea. There are some enemies I would steer clear from, but you don't really come across them in every run, and you could probably just run away from them. All in all, good map. Good intermediate map and starter map. Frost Mountain is my least favourite map, and I think most people agree with me. However, I don't think it deserves the reputation it receives. Most of what you face are frost skeletons, which slow you when you're hit by them. Couple that with the fact that most enemies in the dungeon are in fact frost enemies, you end up walking around the place like you're holding in the world's largest shit. It also makes running away from enemies a hell of a lot harder, since once you get hit by one, guess what, you're probably slowed now. Frost Archer skeletons also get a melee attack as well, which, as far as I could tell, in the earlier levels and the other dungeons, I haven't seen any other ranged enemies get a melee attack, so it can make Frost Mountain a bit jarring when starting out. However, I think once you get used to these differences, Frost Mountain becomes far less annoying. It requires a bit more knowledge on the game, but once you've played it, it's basically just a bit harder Goblin Caves. When you start out, Dark and Darker combat feels like playing Dark Souls on a keyboard. Janky, and not the way it was intended to be played. And I'm qualified to say that. I beat Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring on a keyboard. After a while though, you do kind of get into the feng shui of the combat. It's less to do with parries and reactions, and more to do with positioning, movement, and timing. Take this regular skeleton. As a barbarian, if I just spam left click, I will win, but I'll be missing half my health by the end of it. However, if I backtrack, kite the skeleton, I can safely dodge most of their moves. And, depending on its weapon, I just need to dodge in a different direction. This can lead to combat that feels slow and clunky at first, but it's more in depth than you think. Or you can use longsword and just parry everything. Like an asshole. I have a vendetta, can you tell? After successfully exiting a raid, or getting out in other ways, you may want to sell some of your hard-got gains. And my god, there are so many traders. Okay, who do I sell to you? Can I? Yeah, the inventory system leaves a little to be desired. There's so many quick equips and quick move hotkeys, I seem to always end up equipping, unequipping, moving to the wrong inventory and re-equipping something before I sell it. Similarly, after selling an item, the gold goes to my character's inventory? What? Why doesn't it go to my character's stash? Why would they do this? You do get a warning before going into a raid about it, but one day both you and I will click past this warning without thinking and go into a raid with all the gold we just got. Die, and then never touch the game again after I put a pickaxe through my monitor. All in all though, I give Dark and Darker 7 frost skeletons out of 10 axe goblins. It's good, but like other games, it suffers from early accessitis. It's not buggy. I didn't encounter any bugs actually in my entire playthrough. Nothing that I realised was a bug anyway. But the combat can be hard to get into, and the first few raids are going to feel like a slog, but that's just how it goes with extraction shooters. Once you've gotten into the full swing of things, it's really fun. It's a great game. It's got really good art, good aesthetic. So, yeah, good game. Thanks for watching. Good morning, good evening, and good night.